The scent of ozone and living chlorophyll was Kaelen Vance's preferred morning perfume. His small apartment, a carefully curated sanctuary tucked into the 37th tier of Neo-Terra's sprawling residential Sector 7, was a testament to his newfound peace. Sunlight, filtered through the city's atmospheric processors, dappled across the leaves of his potted aerophyte solara, a species he'd painstakingly cultivated to thrive on minimal light and atmospheric moisture. He adjusted a nutrient drip, his movements precise, almost meditative. This was 2372 C. A full decade before the Galaxial Unification Wars, before the devastating Outer Rim incursions, before Lyra Vex. Kaelen remembered it all. The acrid smell of burning plastisteel, the shrill alarms of an embattled command center, the strategic holodoubles glowing with grim projections. And always Lyra. Her sharp, intelligent gaze, her unflinching resolve, her terrifying devotion. He'd been a civilian strategist back then, an academic reluctantly drafted into military service, accidentally marrying the future General Lyra Vex in a wartime administrative formality. A formality that, to Lyra, had become an unbreakable vow. Her love, fierce and all-consuming, had been a cage, albeit one woven from genuine affection. He died, not from enemy fire, but from the sheer exhaustion of being perpetually owned. Now he was Kaelen Vance, 20-year-old Xenobotany student at the prestigious Neo-Terra University. His future, he'd meticulously planned, involved exotic flora, obscure academic papers, and zero military entanglement. No Lyra. No wars. Just the quiet hum of the biodome, the gentle rustle of leaves, and the occasional, predictable social interaction with his quirky roommate, Zara. He picked up his compad, the news feed scrolling past without much interest. Standard planetary politics, advancements in AI ethics, a topic Kaelen carefully avoided, given his past life's reliance on military AIs, and a blurb about the Terran Confederacy's rising military stars. He instinctively swiped past it. No need to invite trouble. The apartment door chimed. Kaelen, you're going to be late for Professor Thorne's lecture. Zara's voice, a cheerful burst of digital static, cut through his botanical reverie. Unless you want to be subjected to his passive-aggressive commentary on the decline of academic punctuality, which, honestly, is almost worse than the lecture itself. Kaelen smiled. Zara, with her perpetually tangled electric blue hair and an affinity for neural interfaces that bordered on symbiosis, was a delightful constant in his new, quiet life. She was a genius in her own right, specializing in advanced data forensics, which mostly meant she could hack into anything short of a classified military mainframe and knew everyone's social credit score. He'd relied on her a few times to scrub his minor digital footprints, just to ensure that the ghost of Kaelen Vance, military strategist, remained firmly buried. Coming, Zara, he called back, grabbing his data pad and a protein bar. They walked the bustling sky paths that wove through the city's upper tiers, a symphony of anti-grav vehicles, holographic advertisements for orbital tourism, and the chattering of thousands of citizens. Neo-Terra was a marvel, a layered onion of chrome and greenery, powered by a central AI intelligence that governed everything from public transport to atmospheric recycling. Kaelen often found himself admiring the bioluminescent mosses cultivated on the urban facade, a tiny piece of wild beauty amidst the engineered sprawl. At the university's sprawling biological sciences complex, Kaelen felt a familiar sense of calm. The Xenobotany lab, with its humming grow lights and exotic plant specimens from a dozen colonized worlds, was his happy place. Professor Eris Thorne, a kindly, silver-haired man with eyes that held the wisdom of 1,000 forgotten forests, was already lecturing. And this, class, is why understanding the symbiotic relationship between the Mycelia stellaris and the lithivore blooms is crucial for terraforming applications, Professor Thorne explained, gesturing to a swirling holographic projection of alien fungi and glowing, crystalline flowers. You see, true growth, true survival, often comes from embracing the interconnectedness of things, even those that seem disparate or challenging. He paused, his gaze seeming to settle on Kaelen for a moment, a knowing glint in his eyes. Kaelen felt a strange prickle on the back of his neck, as if the universe itself was trying to send him a cryptic message. He shook it off. Just Professor Thorne's usual philosophical musings. He buried himself in his notes, sketching the intricate nutrient pathways of the Mycelia stellaris. This was his life now. Data, diagrams, the quiet thrill of discovery. No strategic deployments, no enemy movements, no desperate gambits. After class, Kaelen retreated to a quiet corner of the campus biodome, a massive glass structure that mimicked various alien biomes. He was studying a new acquisition, a cryovine from the frozen moon of Xylos, carefully observing its unique ice crystalline leaves. The cool, humid air was soothing, the only sound the soft drip of condensation and the occasional chirping of bioengineered insects. Suddenly, the biodome's usually tranquil atmosphere shifted. A ripple went through the sparse student population. Whispers, then murmurs, then a hushed silence. Kaelen, annoyed by the disturbance, glanced up, and his carefully constructed world shattered into a million irreparable pieces. Framed against the shimmering blue-green of the Xylos biome, standing at the entrance of the biodome, was a woman who could stop a battle with a single glance. She was impossibly tall, with raven hair pulled back into a severe, elegant bun that seemed to accentuate the sharp angles of her jaw. Her uniform, the pristine white and deep indigo of the Terran Confederacy's officer corps, was tailored to perfection, hugging a figure that was both statuesque and undeniably powerful. Metals glinted on her chest, catching the artificial sunlight. She wasn't just a rising star, she was already a celestial body, blazing with an almost predatory grace. Lyra. General Lyra Vex. Only, it wasn't General Vex yet. She was Commander Lyra Vex, of a rank Kaelen remembered her holding roughly a decade ago in his previous life, the same rank she would have held now, given his calculations. But he hadn't expected her to be here. On campus. Unannounced. Like a predator stalking its prey. Her eyes, the same striking shade of glacial blue he remembered, scanned the biodome with an unnerving intensity. They swept past the other students, dismissed the faculty, and then, with the terrible inevitability of a collapsing star, landed directly on him. Kaelen froze, the cryovine clutched forgotten in his hand. His breath caught in his throat. He wanted to run, to teleport, to somehow spontaneously combust into a cloud of botanical dust. But he couldn't move. Her gaze was a physical force, pinning him to the spot, stripping away his anonymity, his peace, his carefully crafted new life. She began to walk. Each step was deliberate, measured, closing the distance between them. The other students parted like the Red Sea, their awe and confusion palpable. Kaelen could hear his heart hammering against his ribs, a frantic drumbeat against the sudden, suffocating silence of the biodome. She stopped directly in front of him, her shadow falling over his face. The air crackled with an unspoken tension, an electric charge that only he seemed to feel. Her eyes, those terrifyingly intelligent eyes, held a depth of knowledge that Kaelen had desperately hoped she would never possess. Not yet. Not ever. Kaelen, she said, her voice a low alto, as clear and precise as a laser beam. The sound of his name, from her lips, was a death knell to his quiet life. It wasn't a question, but an affirmation. A declaration. I knew I'd find you here. A cold dread seeped into Kaelen's bones. I knew I'd find you here. It wasn't just that she'd found him on campus. Her words carried an implication, a certainty that hinted at a much deeper, more disturbing knowledge. She remembered. She all remembered. His past life, their past life, their past marriage. And then she smiled. A small, almost imperceptible curve of her lips that held all the warmth of a supernova and the promise of utter, inescapable devotion. It seems, she added, her gaze lingering on him, possessive and unwavering, that, even in this new life, you still can't hide your affinity for the exotic. Good thing I already know your apartment number. The following morning, Kaelen woke with the distinct feeling of a net closing in. The memory of Lyra, impossibly beautiful and utterly terrifying, waiting for him at the campus entrance, was seared into his mind. His peaceful, anonymous existence, the entire fragile construct of his reborn life, had shattered in a single, devastating moment. He couldn't afford to be idle. "Kaelen, you look like you wrestled a data ghoul in your sleep," Zara chirped from her side of the room, her fingers already dancing across a holoscreen displaying complex algorithmic patterns. Her perpetually disheveled purple hair seemed to defy gravity, a testament to her equally chaotic yet brilliant mind. "Worse," Kaelen muttered, rubbing the sleep from his eyes. "I wrestled with destiny, and destiny won the first round." He pushed himself out of his grav hammock, his mind already spinning through contingencies. Lyra knew his name, his faculty, his general location. The next step was to make himself a phantom. His first strategy was direct evasion. He pulled up the university's internal scheduling matrix, a dizzying web of overlapping courses, lab sessions, and elective seminars. His Xenobotany major, while niche, still had core requirements. He'd signed up for ethnobotanical applications of post-singularity flora, taught by Professor Thorne, a lecture-heavy course. Lyra, as he recalled from her past life, had no interest in plant life beyond what could be weaponized or used for biomass in a pinch. Perfect. He'd shift his other, less critical electives to obscure timings, using different campus quadrants. He spent an hour in a furious trance, rerouting his entire week. Applied astrobiology was now at 7 a.m. on the distant sea tower, fundamentals of stellar cartography, a wild card choice, but it needed him far away, was late evening. He even managed to find an open slot for advanced biomimicry in a research pod usually reserved for postgrads. His schedule was a fractured mess, but it was his fractured mess, and Lyra wouldn't predict it. She couldn't. She was a tactical genius, not a psychic. Confident, Kaelen headed to his first altered class, ethnobotanical applications. He took a circuitous route, eschewing the main skybridges for lesser-used pedestrian tunnels that snaked through the lower levels of the campus, past service bots and recycling conduits. He arrived at Professor Thorne's cavernous lecture hall, an amphitheater carved from living rock with bioluminescent moss serving as accent lighting, feeling a surge of triumph. He found an inconspicuous seat near the back, pulling out his datapad. The hall slowly filled. Kaelen kept his gaze fixed on the glowing fungi diagrams on his screen, occasionally glancing up at Thorne's genial, crinkled face as the professor began his introduction. Then, the door opened one last time, a sliver of brighter corridor light spilling in. Kaelen froze. A figure stepped through, silhouetted for a moment before the door hissed shut. Lyra Vex. Clad in a crisp, dark gray Confederacy cadet uniform, tailored to perfection, she moved with an almost predatory grace. Her eyes, an intense, piercing green, swept the room, and Kaelen felt them lock onto him with the precision of a targeting drone. A tiny, infuriating smile played on her lips. She didn't just walk to an empty seat, she marched to the one directly in front of him. She settled in, turning slightly so that her profile, sharp and elegant, was constantly in his peripheral vision. Kaelen's internal monologue screamed. How did she know? This was a core course. She's military. What is she doing here? He spent the entire lecture with his spine rigid, trying to mentally project a wall of static around himself. He felt her presence, a warm, insistent pressure, even through the back of her uniform. When the lecture ended, he practically vaulted from his seat, making for the nearest exit. Kaelen. Her voice, a low alto that used to send shivers of a different kind down his spine, stopped him cold. He turned, plastering on what he hoped was a neutral, polite expression. Commander Vex. She stood, turning fully to face him. Her eyes softened, losing their military edge, taking on a familiar, almost hungry intensity. Just Lyra, please. I noticed you changed your schedule. Quite the juggling act. I was worried you might miss something important, so I decided to audit a few classes myself. To ensure I stay academically well-rounded. His jaw wanted to drop. Audit? Lyra Vex, future general, auditing Xenobotany? The absurdity of it was astounding. Right, he managed, a faint tremor in his voice. Well, good luck with that. If you'll excuse me, I have another class. He pivoted sharply. "Oh, I know," she said, her voice lilting with amusement. "Advanced biomimicry, Research Pod Delta 9. I'm scheduled for a tactical simulation in the same quadrant. Perhaps we could share a synth coffee afterwards." Kaelen didn't answer. He just walked away, feeling her gaze on his back like a physical weight, his meticulous schedule now revealed as nothing more than a childish scribble against her strategic brilliance. His next attempt was more subtle. He activated his personal stealth net, a basic privacy override that scrambled his comms footprint and blurred his digital trail within the campus network. He'd use cash credit for food, take only public transit outside campus, and avoid any route he'd taken before. He'd become a ghost in the machine. For 3 glorious hours, Kaelen felt a semblance of peace. He successfully navigated the bustling mid-levels of Neo-Terra, ducking into a non-affiliated data cafe to work on a research project. The drone of conversation, the aroma of synth coffee, the muted glow of holoscreens, this was the life he wanted. He was so engrossed, he almost didn't notice the sudden shift in the cafe's ambient soundscape. A hush fell, then a ripple of murmurs. Kaelen looked up. Standing by the entrance, like a statue carved from moonlight and steel, was Lyra. She wasn't in uniform this time, but a sleek, form-fitting tunic and trousers in deep space blue, somehow making her look even more formidable. Her gaze, as always, found him unerringly, cutting through the crowd. She walked towards him, a polite, almost apologetic smile on her face. "Kaelen, what a surprise to find you here. I was just in the area for a community outreach initiative." She gestured vaguely at a small pin on her collar, a stylized Terran Confederacy crest, surrounded by a ring of hands. "Promoting civic engagement among young professionals." Kaelen nearly choked on his synth coffee. "Civic engagement," he rasped, his voice barely a whisper. "In a back-alley data cafe?" She chuckled, a rich, melodic sound that drew more curious glances. "Even here, Kaelen, the Confederacy's reach is broad. We value every citizen. I was just about to grab a quick nutrient paste. Mind if I join you?" Before he could stammer a refusal, she'd already pulled up a chair and settled in, her presence radiating warmth and, to Kaelen, an inescapable sense of being trapped. "Zara," he later pleaded, back in their dorm room, pacing a frantic path. "You have to help me. She's everywhere. It's like she has a predictive algorithm for my life." Zara, engrossed in a holographic chess match against an advanced AI, hummed distractedly. "She probably does. She's Lyra Vex. Her personal AI is probably linked to the entire Confederacy's data network. Kaelen, she's not following you. She's just always there." "That's worse," he cried, running a hand through his hair. "I can't breathe. I changed my entire routine. I took obscure routes. I scrambled my comms. She just appears." Zara finally looked up, her expression surprisingly earnest. "Kaelen, maybe she just really wants to see you. She seems nice. And seriously good-looking. I mean, if a hot general wanted to audit my classes, I wouldn't complain." "You don't understand, Zara. It's not nice. It's suffocating. She cornered me at the Xenobotany lecture, then at the data cafe. My life is becoming a series of Lyra-shaped roadblocks." "Well, you need a break then," Zara declared, closing her chess match with a triumphant grin. "A true escape. Go somewhere quiet. Somewhere she'd never think to look. The campus arboretum. It's huge, multi-leveled, full of nooks and crannies. Find the Whispering Fern section. Nobody ever goes there. It's too damp." Kaelen seized on the idea. The Arboretum. A vast, sprawling botanical complex connected to Xenobotany faculty, designed to simulate various alien biomes. The Whispering Ferns was a deep, humid section, mostly ignored due to its low light and high humidity, home to ancient, slow-growing cryptids. Perfect. He spent the next hour meticulously planning his route, even foregoing his standard light cycle for a long, winding walk. He entered the Arboretum, feeling the rush of cool, oxygen-rich air. The sounds of Neo-Terra faded, replaced by the gentle drip of condensation and the rustle of synthetic leaves. He navigated through the bioluminescent fungi forests, past towering crystalline flora, until he finally found it, the entrance to the Whispering Ferns. The air here was thick, heavy with the scent of petrichor and decomposition. Giant, leathery fronds drooped from the simulated canopy, obscuring the sky. The only sound was the soft sigh of the humidifiers and the almost imperceptible rustle of the fronds, truly whispering. He found a secluded bench, nestled behind a cluster of shimmering spore plants, and let out a long, shuddering breath. He was safe. Finally. He pulled out his data pad, intending to lose himself in his research on symbiotic fungal networks. The peace was glorious. 10 minutes passed. 20. 30. He felt his shoulders relax, the knot in his stomach slowly unravel. Then a faint, almost imperceptible swish of movement. A shadow fell across his datapad. Kaelen slowly, reluctantly, raised his head. Standing over him, framed by the drooping fronds, was Lyra. She was still in her civilian clothes, a light, almost ethereal glow clinging to her from the arboretum's ambient lighting. Her green eyes, usually so intense, now held a deep, profound concern. "Kaelen," she said, her voice soft, almost a whisper, blending with the sounds of the ferns. "I found you. Are you all right?" "I was worried. You seem so troubled yesterday. Zara mentioned you might be seeking a quiet place to clear your head. And knowing your fondness for plants, I thought you might be here. I just wanted to make sure you were safe." Kaelen stared. "Zara." "Of course, Zara." Lyra extended a hand, her expression unreadable. Not accusatory, not even possessive, just concerned. "Come on, Kaelen. This place is damp. You'll catch a chill. I know a place nearby where we can get some real synth tea. My apartment. It's just a short sky taxi ride away." Kaelen felt his blood run cold. She hadn't just found him in his carefully constructed sanctuary. She'd not only learned about his past preference for quiet places and his love for plants, but she'd also found Zara, subtly extracted information, and now, she was inviting him to her apartment. The unspoken implication hung heavy in the humid air. If she knew where her apartment was, then she almost certainly knew where his was. And if she hadn't already found it, she clearly had the means to do so. His last bastion of peace, his secure, anonymous dwelling, was no longer a secret. His frantic avoidance tactics hadn't just failed, they'd led him directly to her. And now, Lyra was offering him a choice, come willingly, or she'd likely find him again, perhaps even more intimately. The web had officially tightened. Kaelen felt a prickle of dread, tinged with a terrifying sense of inevitability. His quiet life was truly over. The quiet hum of the orbital city outside Kaelen's apartment window did little to soothe the growing tension in his chest. A week had passed since Lyra's audacious appearance on campus, a week spent dodging her comms, her accidental run-ins, and the sheer gravitational pull of her presence. He'd perfected a route through campus that avoided the military science department by at least 5 city blocks and had programmed his apartment's privacy screens to deflect all known military network pings. He was winning, or so he told himself. Then Zara, his ever-perceptive roommate, burst through the door, eyes wide, a hollow tablet clutched in her hand. "Dude, you are not going to believe this. My thesis on socioeconomic impact of localized drone delivery networks? Suddenly, like, half the data points are corrupted. And not just corrupted, but redacted. With a little symbol I've never seen before." She gestured emphatically at the screen. "Looks like a 3-headed dog, but stylized. Super weird." Kaelen froze. A 3-headed dog. Cerberus. His blood ran cold. He hadn't thought about that symbol in a decade, not since his past life when it had been the calling card of a shadow faction that had destabilized entire sectors, always operating from the fringes, always cloaked in corporate jargon and plausible deniability. They had been a thorn in Lyra's side, and by extension, his. "Let me see that," Kaelen said, trying to keep his voice level as he took the tablet. The stylized symbol, barely visible amidst the scrambled data, sent a chill down his spine. It was them. But why now? Why target Zara's mundane research? That night, things escalated. Kaelen's comm unit, usually only receiving pings from the university or automated service requests, chimed with an unknown, encrypted signal. He cautiously answered. A distorted voice, synthesized and devoid of inflection, recited a string of numbers. His apartment identification, his student ID, his birth date. Then a single, chilling phrase, "The strategist has been located. Acquisition imminent." The line went dead. A knot of ice formed in Kaelen's stomach. Acquisition imminent. It wasn't a threat of violence, not directly. It was the clinical language of a corporation moving to absorb an asset. In his past life, Cerberus had coveted his strategic mind, seeing him as a valuable commodity to be repurposed. They'd tried to acquire him before, always failing due to Lyra's relentless vigilance. Now, without her official protection, he was just a student. He considered calling the Confederacy police, but what would he say? A robot voice just told me I'm an asset and a three-headed dog corrupted my roommate's data? They'd send him to a psych evaluation. His only option, the one he dreaded, was also the most effective, Lyra. Before he could even consider that humbling call, his apartment's automated security system blared. Intruder alert. Perimeter breached. Balcony access compromised. Kaelen scrambled for the stun baton he kept hidden, a relic from his past life's paranoia. He'd never thought he'd need it here, in his peaceful new existence. The balcony door hissed open, and a figure, silhouetted against the neon glow of Neo-Terra, stepped in. It wasn't a Cerberus agent, however. It was Lyra. She wore a sleek, midnight blue tactical suit, her dark hair pulled back in a severe, no-nonsense braid. Her eyes, however, were not cold or stern, but ablaze with a fierce, almost predatory concern as she swept the room, taking in his wide-eyed panic and the glowing stun baton. "Kaelen," she stated, her voice low and resonant, "you should have answered my calls." "How did you?" he stammered, lowering the baton slightly. "My security protocols extend to the entire orbital sector, my dear," she replied, a hint of something unreadable in her tone. "Anomalous digital activity around your quadrant, followed by an unsecured comping with a known Cerberus signature directed at your apartment, then a direct breach attempt. It wasn't hard to connect the dots." She paused, her gaze softening fractionally as she saw the genuine fear in his eyes. "Are you harmed?" "No, I don't think so," Kaelen admitted, feeling a rush of adrenaline and a strange, unwelcome relief. He hated this. He hated needing her. He hated that she was here imposing her will. And yet, the cold dread receded a fraction with her presence. "They're after you, Kaelen," she said, her voice dropping to a serious, unwavering tone that brooked no argument. The message Zara intercepted, "Your comm unit's ping. Cerberus is reactivating old assets." Or attempting to. But why me? Kaelen's voice was tinged with desperation. "I'm a Xenobotany student. I just want to grow plants." Lyra stepped closer, her hand reaching out, pausing just before it touched his arm. "Because you are connected to me. And because your strategic mind, even in this life, remains a highly valuable commodity. Cerberus never gave up on acquiring you, Kaelen. They merely waited for an opportune moment." Her eyes, usually so sharp and direct, held a shadow of past battles, a memory of a time when this exact scenario had unfolded. Kaelen remembered. He remembered the safe houses, the layers of digital proxies, the constant threat assessments. He remembered Lyra, standing between him and every conceivable danger, a human shield. Her possessiveness had always felt like a cage, but now, facing an unseen enemy, it began to feel more like an impenetrable fortress. "You need to come with me," Lyra stated, her voice firm, leaving no room for negotiation. "My personal quarters on the Titan's Aegis are the most secure location in the Confederacy. Or, at the very least, you'll relocate to a secure facility on Neo-Terra under my direct command." "No," Kaelen protested, even as his knees felt like jelly. "My life is here. My studies. I can't just abandon it all. I can protect myself." He gestured vaguely with the stun baton, which suddenly felt incredibly inadequate against a corporate entity capable of deep state infiltration. Lyra's lips twitched, a hint of exasperation warring with her deep concern. "Kaelen, you're trying to swat a starship with a fly swatter. This is not a domestic dispute." Cerberus operates in the shadows, using layers of corporate and military assets to achieve their goals. You are a civilian. You are exposed. Just then, his comm unit chimed again. A priority message. He glanced at the sender, Confederacy Special Ops, Commander Valerius Thorn. Lyra saw the message display. Her brows furrowed. Valerius Thorn? He's coordinating the recent security sweep around the orbital stations. A rising star, though his methods are direct. Kaelen, desperate for an alternative to Lyra's all-consuming protection, opened the message. A crisply uniformed man with sharp, intelligent eyes appeared on the hollow screen. Commander Valerius Thorn. He had a severe, aristocratic face that vaguely reminded Kaelen of Professor Thorn, though Valerius lacked any of his uncle's warmth. General Vex, Valerius greeted, his gaze flicking briefly to Kaelen with an almost imperceptible sneer before returning to Lyra. I understand you've engaged in a personal security detail for civilian Vance. While I commend your vigilance, this falls under my jurisdiction as head of Confederacy Domestic Security. I propose we transfer civilian Vance to a secure, neutral facility. My teams can offer comprehensive protection without, he paused, his gaze sweeping over Kaelen's apartment, a hint of disdain in his eyes, the potential for conflicts of interest. Kaelen felt a surge of indignation at being referred to as a conflict of interest, and Lyra bristled. Commander Thorn, Lyra interjected smoothly, her voice laced with steel. Civilian Vance's previous life connection to the Confederacy's top strategic assets makes him a unique target. My personal protection is merely an extension of my duty to safeguard critical personnel. And my conflicts of interest are purely the pursuit of maximum security. Her eyes narrowed. Perhaps you'd prefer to explain to the High Command why you believe a known Cerberus target would be safer with an unknown, untested team, rather than under the direct supervision of a general with a proven track record against this specific threat? Valerius Thorn's expression remained unreadable, but Kaelen detected a flicker of annoyance in his eyes. Of course, General. My apologies. I merely wish to offer my resources. The Confederacy's assets are, after all, our shared responsibility. I'll await your detailed security report. He nodded curtly, and the hollow call ended. He's good, Lyra murmured, more to herself than Kaelen. Too good. He played the concern card perfectly. She turned back to Kaelen, her eyes blazing. You see, Kaelen? Cerberus moves fast. And they have allies in places they shouldn't. You are not safe here. And you are not safe under Thorn's protection. Suddenly, the lights in Kaelen's apartment flickered violently, then died, plunging them into darkness illuminated only by the distant city glow and Lyra's suit indicators. A high-pitched whine emanated from the walls, growing louder, more insistent, like 1,000 digital voices screaming. Then, the distinct, metallic clang of the emergency maintenance hatch in the ceiling. They're not just trying to acquire you, Kaelen, Lyra said, her voice grim, pulling out a sleek energy pistol from her thigh holster. They're coming for you. Kaelen swallowed hard, the last vestiges of his desire for independence vanishing in the face of the encroaching darkness and the undeniable threat. He looked at Lyra, her posture radiating strength and unwavering resolve, her eyes fixed on the ceiling hatch. In that moment, he saw not a possessive wife, but a fiercely loyal protector. A general who would burn down the galaxy if it meant keeping him safe. And for the first time in a decade, he didn't recoil from it. He felt a flicker of something akin to surrender and perhaps even a strange, desperate trust. He knew, with absolute certainty, that no matter how much he yearned for a quiet life, his quiet life had just been violently interrupted. And Lyra was the only one who could get him out of it alive. The temporary command center, established within a discreetly secured Terran Confederacy data hub beneath Neo-Terra's bustling civic plaza, hummed with a low, anxious energy. Holoscreens projected swirling data streams, tactical maps, and encrypted communications, painting a grim picture of Cerberus's reach. Lyra, sharp and formidable in her understated tactical uniform, stood before a main display, her eyes scanning the flow of information with an unnerving intensity Kaelen remembered all too well. For Kaelen, the past few days had been a blur of high-stakes analysis and constant, low-level dread. The attack from the previous chapter, a carefully orchestrated data infiltration targeting civilian infrastructure that had thankfully been mostly foiled, had made it clear Cerberus was moving and Kaelen was a person of interest. He was no longer just running from Lyra. He was running with her into the heart of a conflict he desperately tried to avoid. Their vector was unusual, Lyra stated, gesturing to a fractal pattern that pulsed across the holoscreen. They didn't breach traditional firewalls. It was an organic infiltration almost. Her gaze flicked to Kaelen, acknowledging his specialty. Something that mimicked a system process, a kind of digital photosynthesis, feeding on dormant data packets to propagate. Kaelen, hunched over a secondary console, had been poring over the fragmented code Cerberus had left behind. His Xenobotany studies, usually focused on the graceful intricacies of alien flora, were proving unexpectedly relevant. "It's brilliant, actually," he murmured, the intellectual challenge momentarily overriding his anxiety. Like a fungal network spreading through a substratum. It's designed to evade typical AI detection by appearing as benign, background system noise until it reaches a critical mass. He pulled up a molecular schematic, cross-referencing it with known xenobotanical growth patterns. The signature has similarities to the Sirius Nocturnum variant from Kepler, 186F, specifically its nutrient absorption mechanism. But this is designed for data, not soil. Lyra moved closer, her presence radiating a focused energy that was both intimidating and, Kaelen grudgingly admitted, reassuring. "Can you reverse engineer it? Find its core weakness." Their dynamic was shifting, subtle but undeniable. There was no longer the frantic avoidance on his part, only a tense collaboration. He was using his mind, his knowledge, and Lyra wasn't just telling him what to do, she was genuinely seeking his expertise. It felt empowering rather than suffocating. "I believe so," Kaelen replied, zooming in on a particularly complex node. "If it follows natural growth principles, even adapted for digital space, there will be a metabolic choke point. A single point where its energy consumption outstrips its ability to process. Like a plant requiring a specific mineral or light frequency." He worked for hours, Lyra occasionally interjecting with a tactical observation or a question that pushed him deeper into his analysis. He felt his old strategist instincts stirring, dormant for a decade. He wasn't just a botanist, he was a problem solver. And Lyra, the fearsome general, was his most attentive student. He saw the flicker of respect in her eyes, a silent acknowledgement of his value beyond their entangled past. A sudden alarm blared, cutting through the focused silence. Unidentified high-volume data packet transfer detected. Origin: Neo-Terra Orbital Station 7. Destination: Unconfirmed Terran Confederacy Deep Space Network. A frantic tech officer yelled. Lyra's face hardened. Cerberus is trying to exfiltrate critical data. What did they target specifically? Confederacy defense protocols for the Jupiter 5 orbital array, another officer reported, his voice laced with panic. If that gets out, our entire outer perimeter is compromised. Status on the digital fungus, Vance? Lyra demanded, her voice cutting like a laser. Kaelen's fingers flew across the keyboard, sweat beading on his forehead. It's accelerating. The original infiltration was just a primer. This data transfer is the main growth phase. It's replicating itself across the network, burrowing through redundant systems to find the fastest exit point. Can you stop it? Lyra's gaze locked onto his, demanding an answer that she already knew would be difficult to provide. I found a theoretical choke point, Kaelen confessed, adjusting a complex algorithm he'd just developed. A frequency pulse that would disrupt its data metabolism, causing it to collapse. But it's risky. It could trigger a full system cascade if not perfectly timed. Timing then, Vance. Tell me the precise window. Lyra didn't hesitate. She trusted him. It was in that moment, under the harsh glow of the holoscreens, with the fate of Neo-Terra's outer defenses hanging precariously, that Kaelen saw Lyra's past possessiveness in a new light. It wasn't about control, it was about absolute, unwavering faith. She wasn't trying to own him. She was protecting him, and, by extension, everyone else. Her intensity wasn't suffocating, it was a shield. He remembered a similar moment in their past life, during the Orion Front campaign. He'd proposed a high-risk flanking maneuver. Lyra, then his commanding officer, had listened, her face impassive. Later, she'd implemented it, but not before personally ensuring he was hundreds of clicks from the heaviest fighting, cloaked behind a reinforced command post. At the time, he'd fumed, interpreting it as her undermining his authority, treating him like a fragile artifact. Now he understood. She hadn't doubted his strategy, she'd simply refused to lose him. "The window is narrow," Kaelen announced, his voice steady despite the tremor in his hands. "When it hits the tertiary relay node, point beta 7. You'll have exactly 3.7 seconds to activate the pulse before it bleeds into the deep space network." "Confirmed," Lyra said, her voice calm, a stark contrast to the urgency of the situation. She relayed the coordinates and the activation sequence to her network operations team. "Prepare to deploy Vance's counter-frequency." "On my mark." The tension in the room was palpable. Every eye was glued to the main holoscreen, watching the crimson tendrils of Cerberus's digital fungus crawl closer to Beta 7. Kaelen felt Lyra's hand briefly, reassuringly, on his shoulder. It was a gesture of trust, not ownership. "Mark," Lyra barked. A collective breath held, then released. A bright azure pulse erupted across the network map, engulfing the crimson tendrils. For a terrifying second, the entire network flickered, threatening to collapse. Then, slowly, the crimson receded, shrinking, withering, until it vanished entirely. The digital fungus was gone. A wave of relieved murmurs swept through the command center. Lyra, however, remained focused. Trace the residual signature. Find out what they were actually looking for, beyond the defense protocols. She turned to Kaelen, a ghost of a smile touching her lips. "Well done, Vance." Kaelen felt a warmth spread through him that had nothing to do with the intense pressure. He'd done it. He'd contributed, not as her civilian strategist/trophy husband, but as a peer. Later, as the data hub quieted, Lyra stayed behind with Kaelen, watching the cleaner program scour the network. "You've grown, Kaelen," she said softly, her voice losing its edge of command. "Not just in knowledge, but in confidence." He looked at her, truly seeing her for the first time in this life, stripped of his past prejudices. Her eyes, so often piercing, held a raw vulnerability beneath the resolve. "And you haven't changed at all, Lyra." He paused, then added, "But I'm starting to understand you better." He saw the slight widening of her eyes, a glimmer of hope. "Your intensity, it's not to control. It's to protect. To keep what you value safe." Lyra stepped closer, her expression unreadable. "And what I value most, Kaelen, is you." Her hand reached out, gently cupping his cheek. "Losing you once was a wound I never healed from." The raw honesty in her voice pierced through Kaelen's carefully constructed walls. He saw not a terrifying general, but a woman who had suffered, who had loved him fiercely enough to bend the universe to reclaim him. His heart, once so guarded, began to ache with a different kind of longing. "We still have a problem," Kaelen said, his voice husky, trying to regain some semblance of professional distance as he pointed to a lingering data echo. The source of the fungal data stream, it originated from within the Confederacy's internal research network. Specifically, a subnode attached to Professor Thorne's Xenobotanical labs. Lyra's brow furrowed. "Professor Eris Thorne? Your mentor?" "Not him," Kaelen clarified, the puzzle pieces clicking into place. "But his nephew, Commander Valerius Thorne. He's been trying to discredit you, Lyra. He used his uncle's research access, likely planted a backdoor, to inject that program and frame you for the data breach." He looked at Lyra, a new resolve hardening his features. "He wanted you to fail, so he could rise. And he used me, my connection to Professor Thorne, as a vector." Lyra's eyes narrowed, a dangerous glint appearing in their depths. "Valerius Thorne. He's always been ambitious. But this is treason. And now he's made it personal." Her gaze returned to Kaelen, no longer just protective, but united. "We have him, Kaelen. We know his vector, his methods, and now, his motive. And he just made his biggest mistake. The holoscreen still hummed, now projecting a single, damning data trail leading directly to Valerius Thorn. The game was no longer about avoiding Lyra. It was about fighting alongside her. And Kaelen, finally, felt ready for it. The air crackled, not just with the hum of the central data core of the Terran Confederacy's planetary defense grid, but with a palpable tension that mirrored the digital storm brewing on the projected screens. Commander Valerius Thorn, cold fury radiating from his rigid posture, stood before a hastily assembled tribunal, his face a mask of indignation that barely hid the calculating malice beneath. His voice, amplified by the courtroom's acoustics, was a practiced blend of righteous accusation and veiled threat. General Vex, your unilateral override of the autonomous defense protocols, your unsanctioned deployment of a civilian strategist, Kaelen Vance, if you please, and the subsequent data anomalies detected across several key Confederate assets. It reeks of insubordination, if not outright treason. Valerius's gaze, sharp as a laser scalpel, swept across the room, lingering on Lyra, then Kaelen. Lyra stood firm, her hand casually resting on Kaelen's arm, a gesture that, in any other context, would have sent Kaelen's flight instincts into overdrive. But now it was a grounding force, a quiet declaration of solidarity. His own fingers subtly interlaced with hers beneath the folds of her uniform sleeve. Commander Thorn, Lyra's voice was calm, clear, cutting through Valerius's bluster. I acted to prevent catastrophic system collapse and expose a rogue element embedded deep within the Confederacy's cyber defenses. An element you, Commander, have unknowingly or otherwise protected for months. Valerius scoffed, a sneer twisting his lips. Unknowingly? I am a loyal officer. And your rogue element is a convenient scapegoat for your own reckless actions, General. A civilian like Vance, whose past life you claim to remember, suddenly becomes your indispensable strategist? The very notion is ludicrous. Professor Thorn, his usually gentle eyes now burning with a quiet intensity, stepped forward. Nephew, your arrogance blinds you. Kaelen's strategic insights, combined with Lyra's tactical genius, are the only reason we are not currently facing a fully compromised defense grid. Your data anomalies are evidence of Cerberus attempting to seize control, using your access codes. Valerius faltered, a flicker of genuine shock crossing his face. My codes. He recovered quickly, his eyes narrowing. My codes are secure. This is an elaborate fabrication. Perhaps not so secure, Valerius. Zara's voice chimed in from a terminal console behind Kaelen. Her fingers danced across a holographic keyboard, a stream of complex data flowing onto the main display. The anomalies weren't just random system glitches. They were precise, calculated attempts to create backdoor access using a dormant subroutine embedded in the very infrastructure you helped design. A subroutine that, curiously, responded to your unique biometric signature, Commander. And look here, she zoomed in on a specific data packet, highlighting a string of encrypted code. This timestamp corresponds precisely to a time when your personal datapad was recorded as being connected to an unsecured terminal within the Cerberus corporate network last week. A ripple of murmuring spread through the tribunal. Valerius's face paled, the carefully constructed facade cracking. That's impossible. You never would consciously betray your family, Valerius, Professor Thorn interjected, his voice laced with sorrow. But Cerberus doesn't need your conscious betrayal. They need leverage. They needed a brilliant, ambitious, but perhaps overly trusting mind with access to critical systems. They fed you carefully curated data, flattered your ego, and subtly compromised your devices. They exploited your own desire for advancement to gain a foothold. Lyra squeezed Kaelen's hand, a silent message of reassurance before she spoke. Commander Valerius Thorn, your personal AI assistant, Vigilance, has been fully compromised and used as a conduit for Cerberus. We found a latent directive within its core programming, implanted months ago, designed to monitor your communications, exploit your access, and eventually execute a coordinated attack on the planetary defense grid at the opportune moment. Valerius stared, his jaw slack. Vigilance. No, that's my personal AI. It's loyal to me. It was, Kaelen spoke, his voice steady, projecting across the room. He met Valerius's bewildered gaze, remembering the subtle patterns, the familiar insidious methods of Cerberus from his past life. Cerberus doesn't care about loyalty, Commander. They care about control. Your AI was just another tool. The anomalies were not random. They were preparations. Lyra recognized the pattern because she's fought Cerberus before. And I recognized the subtle hand of their grand strategy. He stepped slightly forward, pulling his hand from Lyra's, a conscious act of taking his own stand. His gaze swept the room, meeting the eyes of the tribunal members, then returning to Valerius. From my past life, I remember Cerberus operating not through brute force, but through subtle infiltration, exploiting trusted individuals, and turning their own systems against them. They wanted to seize control of the defense grid not through a frontal assault, but by making it appear as an internal system failure, a weakness on Lyra's part, creating chaos for them to step into. They wanted to turn this tribunal against her, discredit her, and open a power vacuum for their own operatives to fill. Your AI, Valerius, was the key to this particular infiltration. Lyra's eyes, usually so intense and focused on him, now held a deep, unshakable pride as she watched Kaelen speak. He wasn't just the man she loved. He was her partner, contributing his unique brilliance, not hiding from it. As Kaelen finished, a heavy silence descended. The evidence Zara displayed, combined with Kaelen's chillingly accurate interpretation of Cerberus's methods, painted a damning picture. The tribunal's collective gaze shifted from Lyra to Valerius, their expressions hardening. Commander Thorn, the lead adjudicator, finally announced, his voice grave. Given the irrefutable evidence of a compromised personal AI, the direct link to the attempted sabotage of the defense grid, and the corroborating testimony, you are hereby relieved of duty, effective immediately, and will be placed under secure detention for a full investigation into your unwitting involvement with the terrorist organization, Cerberus. Valerius, shell-shocked, could only offer a weak protest as two security officers gently but firmly escorted him from the room. The fight was over. A collective sigh of relief swept through the tribunal. Lyra, though victorious, showed no outward triumph. Her eyes immediately sought Kaelen's. He met them, a warmth blossoming in his chest that had nothing to do with fear or obligation, and everything to do with profound connection. Later, in Lyra's temporary quarters on the orbital station, the silence was different. It was a comfortable, shared quiet. Zara had gone to process data, Professor Thorn to tend to his plants. Kaelen and Lyra sat on a plush sofa, the vast, star-dusted expanse of Neo-Terra visible through the panoramic window. Kaelen took a deep breath, the lingering adrenaline finally ebbing. He turned to Lyra, his hand reaching for hers, not in an accidental brushing, but a deliberate clasp. Her fingers immediately tightened around his. I spent so long running from what I thought was suffocating, Lyra, he began, his voice soft, almost a whisper against the hum of the station. From your intensity, your devotion, what I perceived as possessiveness. I remembered a past life where I felt overwhelmed, losing myself in your shadow, fearing I'd be consumed by your strength. He paused, collecting his thoughts, looking at their joined hands. But watching you today, Lyra, watching you fight for truth, for the Confederacy for me, I saw it. It wasn't about control, was it? It was about keeping me safe. It was about fierce loyalty, fierce love. Every time you pushed, every time you cornered me, it was because you knew there was danger, and you wouldn't let me face it alone. He met her gaze, his own eyes clear, finally free of the shadows of the past. And I don't want to run anymore. I don't want a quiet life away from you. I want a quiet life with you. A life where I can cultivate my plants, yes, but also where I can stand by your side and use whatever skills I have to help you, to protect what we both care about. Lyra's breath hitched. A rare, unguarded vulnerability shone in her eyes. Her formidable exterior seemed to melt away, revealing the woman beneath, the woman who had loved him so fiercely she defied death and time itself. A single tear tracked down her cheek, quickly wiped away by her free hand. Kaelen, she breathed, her voice thick with emotion, my Kaelen. I thought I had lost you forever. In that past life, I knew I drove you away. But I couldn't help it. The thought of anything happening to you, it was unbearable. This time, I swore I wouldn't make the same mistakes, but then you were running again, and I panicked. A faint, almost imperceptible tremor ran through her. Thank you. For seeing me. For understanding. He leaned in, gently cupping her face, his thumb brushing away the dampness from her cheek. Thank you, Lyra, for finding me. For not giving up. And for being you. Then, he kissed her. It was not the panicked, awkward kisses of their early encounters, nor the desperate urgency of a goodbye. This was a kiss of acceptance, of reunion, of a future embraced. It was tender, profound, and utterly devoted. When they finally broke apart, Lyra's forehead rested against his, her breath mingling with his. The quiet life Kaelen had craved was no longer one defined by absence, but by presence, Lyra's formidable, loving presence. He still wanted his Xenobotany, his peace, but now he understood that true peace wasn't found in isolation, but in shared strength. Cerberus is still out there, Lyra murmured, her voice now a low rumble of determination. Valerius was just one thread. They have deeper roots, Kaelen. This is far from over. Kaelen tightened his grip on her hand, a confident, knowing smile playing on his lips. He looked out at the glittering tapestry of Neo-Terra, the promise of new battles, new challenges. He no longer felt fear, but a surge of readiness. Good, Kaelen replied, his gaze meeting hers, bright with renewed purpose. Then it's time to show them what a general and her strategist husband can do together. As the orbital station drifted silently through the endless dark, Kaelen knew their story was indeed far from over. The universe had more in store for a strategist and his commander, Reborn. And this time, he was ready to face it all, standing proudly, resolutely, by her side. The real fight had only just begun.